here and welcome to another Bookish Friday video. So today's video is going to be a quick tag video. I saw this a while back and I thought it was a good way for me to let you know what kind of books I like, what's my preferences and all of that jazz. So this is a rapid fire book tag. We'll see how rapid it is with my waffling. There's lots of questions, so let's just get straight to it. The first one is ebook or physical book. Now for me, straight away, it's got to be physical book. I do love the feel of a book in my hands, and I love the feel of turning that page. It's taken me a long time to get to read ebooks, and the only reason why I have started reading ebooks is because I've got an Amazon Fire tablet for Christmas. Obviously, if I hadn't have purchased this, you can't read ebooks without one. But I still find, even though I have lots of ebooks on there, I still find that I would rather pick up a physical book than an ebook. That's just the way it is for me. When I'm thinking of my monthly TBRs, I'm thinking of what books I have on my shelves or what books I have out from the library rather than what books are on my Amazon Fire. So it's always generally 9 times out of 10 a physical book for me. So yeah. Paperbacks or hardbacks? I love my paperbacks. I'm a massive paperback fan. I'm starting to get into hardbacks recently because I'm into more newer releases now. And of course I get hardbacks in my Fairy Loot boxes. So I do own a couple of hardbacks now, but when I am purchasing books, generally I will try and get the paperback version unless the hardback has a pretty bare cover, then I might purchase the hardback. So yeah, paperbacks for me mainly. Online or in-store book shopping? Why are we limited it to one? Do it all. I love book shopping. I love browsing books. I love going to charity shops and seeing what they have. I love going into my local Waterstones where they practically know me by name now. And I love having a gander on Amazon or on other online bookstores like World of Books, The Works, because my local The Works has some books in there, but they have a larger range on their website. So I will look at both the shop in town and The Works online. So yeah, I'm not limiting myself to either of those. I love them all. Any way I can buy books, I enjoy. Trilogies or series? So are we limiting it to 3 or carrying on for 10 or 14 books? It depends. It depends on the story. I do like how quick a trilogy can be, get you into it. I feel like a trilogy is like a beginning, a middle and an end to a story, so it wraps up pretty quick. But I do like a good series if I'm into the characters and I don't want to say goodbye to the characters too early. So for instance, I recently finished the box set of the Mortal Instruments. Quick spoiler there for my February wrap up, but I finally finished the 6-book series of the Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. My God, that was a slog. It took me 14 months to finish that damn thing. And I am so glad that it's over. I am taking a break from the Shadowhunter series for a while. I know there are more books in the series, like in other trilogies in the same world, but I am taking a break from that for now. Whereas the Folk of the Air series by Holly Black was only a trilogy, and I kind of wish there was more to it. I kind of wish there were more books coming because I love that world. I love those characters. I thoroughly enjoyed myself in that world. And when I actually finished Queen of Nothing, the 3rd and final book, I kind of wanted to start from the beginning again with The Cruel Prince because I just wanted to stay in that world for a little bit longer. So it just depends on the characters and on the story that's being told. So I can't really make a decision on that one. Okay, heroes or villains? Oh, I love a good villain. I once saw somebody, a famous author, and I can't remember who it was, but they said if you're writing a book, start with your villain. You need to know what your hero is up against in order to be able to make the story great. Like, so I love a good villain, because if your villain is a little bit off, it just throws the whole story, because there's nothing for the hero to fight against, to beat, you know. So your villain has to be spot on so that your story is spot on, I feel. So yeah, villain all the way. I love Ursula in The Little Mermaid. She's my favourite character, is Ursula, not Ariel. Even though I love mermaids, Ariel is not my favourite character in The Little Mermaid. It's Ursula. Just saying. Okay, so a book I want everyone to read. The Exact Opposite of Okay by Laura Stephen. I keep harping on about this book. I love it so much. It's an important book for young girls to read, also for young boys to read as well, because it has a lot of life lessons in there for youngsters, and I just love it. And congratulations to Laura Stephen, who recently gave birth to a beautiful child. I think she's had a girl. I can't remember. I think she had a girl. Recommend an underrated book. Oh, I don't know. I would say the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld. They were it's actually a 4-book set, but the first 3 books are a trilogy, and then the 4th book is kind of like an add-on to the end, because the first 3 books are in, you know, one person's world, following the same character, but the 4th book is like following a different character years after the events of the first 3 books, and it's really interesting. It has kind of a commentary about people wanting to be beautiful and what makes people beautiful and stuff, and the 4th book is a commentary on how people literally live on YouTube. So yeah, I find that really interesting. The 4th book is Extras. The first book is Uglies, then there's Pretties, Specials and Extras. So yeah, I really love that series. I got into it after reading The Hunger Games back when they came out, and I was just looking for another trilogy to get into, and I found the Uglies series. So so yeah, I think everyone should read that. The last book I finished, oh, what book did I? Well, as I just said, it was the final book in the, how could I forget? It was the final book in the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare, which was City of Heavenly Fire. It was 640 pages long, and my God. I started that in January, and I have just finished it. Okay, weirdest thing I've used as a bookmark. Nothing. I'll use anything as a bookmark. But one of the things that a lot of people are shocked at is that if I'm reading a book, say for instance, currently reading Tower of Dawn at the moment by Sarah J Maas. If I'm reading a book and I don't have a bookmark with me, I can just shut a book and know where I am the next time I pick it up. Mainly because I read on a daily basis, so I'm not having too long between putting down a book and picking up a book again for me to forget the page that I'm on, but also because I have a really good memory of what's happened in a book. So even when I pick the book up, and I might not go exactly to the same page as when I put it down, I will quickly realise, oh, I've already read this, or I'm not up to this bit yet, so I will flick back a couple of pages. So yeah, I can quite happily not use a bookmark. Used books, yes or no? Yes, obviously. The best thing about books that I love the most is that they're made to last. Like, you can read a book and then think, oh well, it's not one that I want to keep, so I take it to the charity shop and somebody else will pick that book up and love it and want to keep it on their shelves. And other people will have done the exact same thing. They'll have been doing an unhaul and they've taken these books to the charity shop, and I will find the book that I have been looking for forever and find it in a charity shop. That has happened to me a few times. Yes, of course, used books. I love a good bargain. Top 3 favourite genres. Fantasy, obviously. I love fantasy. I will always pick fantasy over everything else. I'm going to say middle grades, because sometimes when you get a little bit too bogged down with a lot of adult or YA fantasies, reading a middle grade can actually be quite cleansing to your palate and give you a bit of breathing space. And then, funnily enough, I'm going to say classics, because I have found some absolutely adorable and wonderful classics in 2019 that I never realised was so amazing. I always thought I was not clever enough for classics. I thought I wasn't intelligent enough. I thought I wasn't educated enough to read classics and appreciate them. Turns out you don't need to be educated or intelligent enough to read them. You just have to enjoy them. They are, after all, just stories. And I love them. I absolutely love them. My favourite classic so far is Dracula. I absolutely love that. Okay, borrow or buy. Why are we limiting to one? Borrow from your local libraries. Let your local councils know that your library is an important part of the community. Borrow, borrow, borrow all the time. When you borrow a book, the author is still getting a payment from them. Again, I'm going to mention Laura Stevens. She actually tweeted about this recently, that every time her books are borrowed from local libraries, she gets a payment for it. And so that kind of makes me want to go and borrow her books out of the local library, even though I have my own versions of them at home. But it just means that she gets a payment for it, my favourite author. I love that woman. Don't worry, I'm not stalking her, and I haven't gone that far yet. Yeah, borrow from your local library. Let your local councils know that it's an important part of the community. It also helps out your favourite authors as well. And also as well, it lets you sort of dabble into an author's work before you start purchasing their work, if you know what I mean. So like recently I wasn't sure if I would enjoy Joe Abercrombie's work, but I've heard he is pretty great, so I borrowed a book of his from the local library, read it, enjoyed it, loved it. Will be buying his books from now on because I enjoyed it, and I know that now I like his work. Now I can feel safe in purchasing his books. So I say do both. If it's a new to you author, try borrowing their books first. But if it's an author that you know, you love, you've had their work before and you really thoroughly enjoyed it, go buy their books. It helps them out. It gives them the chance to write more. Yeah, all of the things, all of the above. Characters or plot? I am for plot. It doesn't matter how interesting your characters are. If nothing happens in your book, I will be bored. I need something. I need tension. I need drive. I need a goal. I need there to be something like putting me on the edge of my seat. I need danger. I need something that the hero has to overcome. And I think that's why I'm not a massive fan of contemporaries, because contemporaries are more like a slice of life kind of story, whereas fantasies are always about good fighting evil and just amazing plots, and plots that can carry over books and books and books. So yeah, plot all the way. Long or short books? Again, both. I don't mind reading a short book, because it'll give me just a bit of breathing space to just pick up a book and quickly read it and have it over and done with in a short time, if that's what I'm looking for. Long books, I don't mind a long book. I will read a 600-page book or an 800-page book. It doesn't bother me. It might hurt my hands if I'm physically reading it because those things are heavy, like Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. That thing is humongous. But I don't mind that, because the bigger the book, the more character building, the more world building, the more plot you can put in there. And obviously those are the things that I really enjoy, so the more the better. But every now and again you need a shorter book just so you can, you know, dip your toe in and come back out of it again without investing too much time and energy into it. So yeah, that's what I like about graphic novels and things like that, or even some classics that are quite short and sharp, and you know, you're only going to be reading them for about a day, maybe 2 days at the most. You're not investing too much time, so a little bit of everything, I think. Long or short chapters? Okay, so this was the problem that I had with City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. The chapters were way too long. I was looking at 30 to 40 page chapters. As a person who reads chapter to chapter, I will never stop a book in the middle of a chapter unless I have to get up and do something. But I will, majority of the time, read from chapter to chapter. So when I'm reading a book like that and I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking of putting the book down, I will always check how many pages is in the next chapter. Can I just do one more chapter? You know, that old thing of, what, just one more chapter? That's me. That is so me. I'm always checking before I stop. Okay, how many pages is the next chapter? Oh, the next chapter's only 5 pages. Okay, I'll carry on. But with the Cassandra Clare books, the chapters were getting to like 30, 40 pages, and I was like, yeah, I'm not carrying on with 30 more pages. So I would put the book down at that point. So it slowed down my reading. So I say short chapters are better for me because of the way that I read. So yeah, I think my limit is about 10 to 15 pages. Those are the kind of chapter lengths that I would prefer. So not too short and sharp, but not too long and long-winded. So yes. Books that have made me laugh or cry. Oh, what was that book? It's called Lucas.
Let me have a look. I got it out of the library.
Kevin Brooks. I'm just looking in my list book here. So Lucas by Kevin Brooks made me sob. Like, my little heart broke at that story. It was a book about a stranger coming to a new town, and how he was literally hounded by some of the kids in the town because he was different, because they didn't know who he was or what he was, or and the way that it was written, I just, it broke my heart as a mother. And this was a story about the kids. It just really broke my heart that the kids could be that cruel and that the adults didn't have a control over that. So yeah, I sobbed at Lucas. I'm still looking for a copy of that book for my own shelves, because I know I'm going to want to read that again, even though it made me cry. And books that have made me laugh. Seven Blades in Black by Sam Sykes. I was chuckling through all of that. The sense of humour that is in that book is just, it's brilliant. I loved it. I believe there is going to be another book in that series coming soon. I'm not sure when, but as soon as it comes out, I'm going to purchase it, because I loved that book. I even ordered it from America because I loved that book so much. I wanted it on my shelves, and according to Amazon UK, it wasn't going to be released here until 2021, and I wasn't prepared to wait that long for the book. So yeah, Seven Blades in Black made me laugh so hard. It was just, I was telling my husband, I was even saying to my husband, oh, look at this line. This is so funny. Listen to this. It was just hilarious. I loved it. It was brilliant. Okay. So next one. Our world or fictional world? So I read to escape, and that's what I read for. I read to pretend that real life isn't happening for a while. And so because of that, I want a fictional world. I don't generally tend to enjoy books set in our world because I know our world isn't the greatest. I know that we have a lot of problems here. I know that there's a lot of issues affecting real life and things like that. And when I read, I want to escape that. So I want a fictional world. Give me hobbits hollow and, you know, a place where hobbits live, and give me Folio from the Frozen Sea by Piers Torday. Give me Narnia. Give me, I don't know, just give me magical worlds where magic exists and good and evil battle. I want fiction. I want complete and utter make-believe in my books. I don't want to be reminded of the real world. And again, I think that's why I prefer fantasy over things like contemporaries and thrillers. So, yeah. Audiobooks, yes or no? Yes. I mean, audiobooks is reading. Like, I'm currently listening to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by, oh, what's her name now? You know who by. You know who by. I'll put it on the screen here. I am reading that book. I might be listening to it, but I am reading it. It is being read because I can tell you what the story's about. And I couldn't tell you what the story's about if I haven't read it. So to me, audiobooks are reading. And it means, audiobooks means that I can still consume books whilst I'm doing other things. So whilst I'm putting on my makeup, whilst I'm getting a shower, or whilst I'm cooking tea, or if I don't want to watch a TV program or a YouTube video or a film, I can consume an audiobook instead. I consume a lot of my classics via audio because it makes it easier for me to understand, for me to consume. I will also use audiobooks for non-fiction, because hearing someone talk to me via a non-fiction book is so much easier than me reading a non-fiction, because I can hear their voices. I recently listened to the audiobook of Black Klansman by Ron Stallworth, who was the black cop who joined the Ku Klux Klan. If I was reading that myself, I might not be able to understand it as well because I'm reading it in my voice, and I'm a white person and I have no understanding of what a black person is going through in that situation. But the audiobook was actually read by Ron Stallworth himself, and who better to tell me the story than the person who wrote it? So yes, audiobooks, obviously, yes, all the way, yes. Do you judge a book by its cover? Yes. I will pick up a pretty book and I will buy it because it's pretty. And then I will read the synopsis. Yeah, I do. And I'm not always right. Pretty books do not always equal pretty stories or good stories. The Surface Breaks by Louise O'Neill was a very sure example of that. Beautiful book, bad story, in my humble opinion. If you think differently, that's fine. But yeah, and then ugly books like Seven Blades of Black by Sam Sykes. Brilliant story inside. So yeah, I do judge books by their cover, and then I'm proved right or wrong quite frequently. Okay, so book to movie or book to TV? Um, it depends again, because the taking for example the Shadowhunters books, the Mortal Instruments. The first book, I believe, was made into a movie called Shadowhunters, and it was on Netflix, and I watched it and I did enjoy it, but I wouldn't say it was the best movie ever made. Then I noticed that there was a Netflix series of the Shadowhunters, and I started watching that, and I loved that series, and that's why I actually ended up picking up the books. So I actually watched the movie first, then I watched the Netflix series, then I picked up the books. And out of all of those, I preferred the TV series, the Netflix series. I thought that the story just was a little better, and it was easier for me to consume that way as well. So I don't know. It depends on who the director is, who the actors are. I know that Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo is apparently being made into a series, and I'm quite looking forward to that. So it depends. It depends on what they do with it. But yeah, be interesting to see. Okay, a movie TV adaptation you prefer to the book? Well, The Maze Runner. Um, the Maze Runner isn't a brilliant film, it's not the greatest film, but it is definitely way, way, way better than the book. It made more sense. The writing of the script was so much better than the book. The acting was amazing. It was great, not amazing, but yeah, just the solution as well at the end. The way the kids solved the maze in the end was a lot better in the movie than the book. I think the script writers of the movie saw the problems with the book and made them better. So yeah, answer that question. Series or standalone? I think this goes back to the one of the earlier questions, which was trilogies or series, and it just depends on what I'm fancying at the time. Sometimes I want to get lost in a world and stay there for as long as possible because I'm enjoying the world, I'm enjoying the characters, I'm enjoying the writing, I'm interested in the plot. And then other books, you think there is only one book in this. Things like Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Owen. Is it Margaret Owen? There really was only one book in that story. I didn't feel like it had enough to follow on with. It doesn't need another story. So some stories just have a single thing to say, and then others have so much more. So it just depends on the story, I think. Some stories just only have one book in them, and that's okay. It's okay. And then the last one is just to name 3 books. So I'm not going to mention the obvious ones because I've already mentioned them a load of times. I'm going to mention Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I love that story, and that was one of the books that really made me fight for the not so good guy. The protagonist of that was kind of morally grey, and it made me think about not doing the right thing for the first time. So I want to say The Wicked Deep. And then I would say A Darkness of Dragons by S.A. Patrick, my favourite middle grade I read in 2019. A beautiful story about friendship, how we all have our own journeys to take. We all have our own quests to go on, But if we band together and we help each other, then we'll get it done a lot quicker and a lot easier. It was just a beautiful book, and I know S.A. Patrick is working on a sequel right now, so I am so excited for that. And the third and final book I'm going to mention is... It's a bit hard to see over there where all my red books are because I haven't got my glasses on. The Secrets You Hide by Kate Helm, because that is a thriller that I did enjoy a lot in 2019, and all the way through the story I was certain on who the villain was in that, and then when the villain was revealed I was completely shocked because it wasn't who I thought it was, but it made so much sense that it was them. And I've actually kept that book because I do want to reread it, because I want to go back through and see if there was more clues there, because although the villain made sense, there was just this, the clues must have been there, but they must have been so subtle that I've like gone over them and not realised. So yeah, the Secrets You Hide by Kate Helm. I absolutely love that thriller, and it is one that I want to reread in the future, so I'm going to mention that one as well. So that is it. That is my tag. If you want to do this tag, please do. It's great to see what other people are really interested in. It really helps your viewers to see what kind of books you like, what kind of things you like. So yeah, if you want to do this tag, I tag you're it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe. I make videos every Monday and Friday, Makeup Mondays and Bookish Fridays. So if you're interested in either of those two subjects, please do come and join me, and I'll see you soon. Bye.